Hello, so little birdie might have told me that you might be struggling with ionic bonding a little bit. So I'm making this video to help you figure out how to study and what to study for the quiz. So in class, you should have gotten this optional study guide that was by the door. It was yellow in color, but here is the PDF version. So down this half here, you can cut it in half and you can use this side as your study guide. You can use front and back. You can write whatever you want on this page. So front and back, it's all for you to use as a cheat sheet for the quiz. But I'm gonna point and take your attention to this side. This is a list of really common polyatomic ions with a name. So you can take a look at the formula and it correlates with the name to help you name things. And on the bottom is a little periodic table with the charges. So I'm not asking you to memorize anything. I'm only asking you to apply the charges into the compounds. So let's do a couple of examples together to help you grasp this. So the first one is sodium and fluorine. They both have a charge. So this one is +1, this one is -1. So the charges are equal, which is why it has no charge here. So as remembering, this is a review. If this is all totally new to you, check out what I posted on Google Classroom last night, and hopefully that will help you out. Okay, so sodium fluoride. I'll also at the end point out the document that has the naming. It is the one with a table like this on one side, and then the naming stuff on the back. Okay, so now we have potassium and sulfur and 2-. So I'm going to use this part, so it's K+ and S2-. Our goal is to make these two equal to each other. So currently, potassium is +1 and sodium is 2-. Okay, and they're not equal. Currently, there is a more minus negative charge on here. So what we can do is add additional ions. So I can either add this cation of potassium or this anion of sulfur. Because we're needing one more positive to make it 0 total, I'm going to add another potassium. So now there are 2 potassium and 1 sulfur. So here is a +2 charge, and on the right is a -2 charge. So because there are 2 potassium, I'll put a little 2 at the subscript. And there's only 1 sulfur, and that's just 1. The name is just potassium sulfide. Remember, if it's an ionic bond, you change the ending. Instead of sulfur, change the end and make it sulfide. Okay, that was one of our examples. Let's do a slightly harder one or two of them. Let's do these two. So pause this video and try these two on your own first, and then we'll go over it together. Okay, so hopefully you paused your video instead of just waiting for me to show you the answer, because you should practice. So Al 3+ and O2-. So it's not a 0 charge at the moment. There is a +1 charge left over, as oxygen is 2- and aluminum is 3+. So as you know, we have to add more ions to make it equal. So let me just add another aluminum. Okay, so now this part is 6+. If I add another 2-, this is 4-. It still doesn't equal. So what can you do? I hope that you said, oh, we can add another oxygen. So another oxygen. And now in total, this is 6-. So the 6+ and the 6-, they cancel out. They equal to 0. So here we have 2 aluminums. So it's Al, 2 aluminum, and oxygen. There are 3 oxygens, and O3. Okay, So the naming, you take the regular name of the first one, which is aluminum. Oh, that was some scribble. Aluminum. And oxygen. Instead of oxygen, you change the N to the IDE ending, so it's oxide. Aluminum oxide. Cool. And then we'll keep going. Let's do the calcium and ClO3 minus. So when you see a compound like that, you can help yourself and think about it in one way. So you can pretend that ClO3 minus, let's just do without the minus, this compound here is X, like X in chemistry. So the whole thing is equal to X. If that's the case, it's X minus and Ca2 plus. Now it's easy. You're like, oh, this is a piece of cake. So you need another X minus for this to be equal to 0. So it's Ca, there's only one of Ca, and there are 2 of X. So when you do that, you have to put ClO3 in a parentheses with a 2 subscript at the bottom. If you did ClO3 and another 2, that's 32. That's no longer 3 or 2, so that's 32. So you can't do this. So big no. Okay, so you do have to use a parentheses. Cool. So for this one here, ClO3 minus, you're like, how am I going to name that? You're going to scroll over here to this handy dandy table. ClO3. Here it is. Okay, so this is calcium and chlorate. And voila, you just solved 2 of the harder problems on here. So the quiz is going to be easier than this. I'll tell you that. Okay, so if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll also post the answer key to this entire table later today. So on Tuesday for first and second period.